we on YouTube today? Well, it depends on where the camera's pointing. Okay. Well, who does the camera? Do you know? Do you do the camera, Tracy? Is it showing that seat over there or us over here? Oh, the whole thing. Right there. Great.
So it's pretty much everything. You're kind of small.
That's fine.
We had a little bit of breakage for some of the equipment, so it used to be mounted on the wall, but now it's just on that tripod. It's a little wider of a shot, but it gets like the whole audience and all the decorations and the stage. So
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where we're at. Have a sip.
Shabbat Shalom. I want to say take a deep breath, but maybe not so much. But look around. It is shining and enlightening, and eventually it will also stop smelling like paint. But it looks like something new has begun, which is, well, others have noticed. Maybe not the 11-year-olds among us. But some have noticed. So, and as this is a time of beginning, I also wanted to say this is Rosh Chodesh Shvat. We're beginning a new month this Shabbat. And Shvat is the month's 3 full moons exactly until Passover. There's one full moon for Tu B'Shvat, there's one full moon for Purim, and then there is Passover. So we kind of started this countdown towards the moment of freedom and also towards spring. 3 more full moons. This is the moment when the rabbi said the sap is starting to rise in the trees. So I don't know if that's true for Montana, to be honest. But I don't know how much is rising in our trees right now. But something in the air, slowly, Shabbat Shalom, is shifting from a time of sleeping and introspection to slowly building up again and rising and growing and beginning a new chapter. So I want to invite Josh to light the candles. It's a little not non-traditional, but Josh is starting a new chapter. Tomorrow is his birthday. So we're all going to start this chapter with you. We are. He is lighting his own birthday candles, but we're all going to sing the blessing with you. So that is going to be fine. We are on page 120 for the lighting of the Shabbat candles. And I am kind of assuming that he will sing it for us. So I'm going to give you that.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner Lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. And we're not saying Mazal Tov yet because we're superstitious, but we're going to say, may these 2 years light like 2 candles, one for the last and one for the one that is going to begin tomorrow. And may you bring the light here many, many times with your entire family. Thank you, Josh. It's exciting. And he's not 50 yet. Just saying that. Less than 50, still less than 50. We are on page 121 for the reading for lighting the Shabbat candles. There's one that speaks about our sanctuary, about the light that is in our sanctuary. The bottom of the page, O source of light and truth. O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter the sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love. Amen. So, this is a beginning. Like many Jewish beginnings, this is a beginning in darkness. We begin the Jewish day in darkness. We begin the Jewish year in fall. And we begin Jewish spring now, when it is still icy and frozen. So I wondered a little bit about this image, moving from the darkest month of the year, really full of darkness, into spring. What does this mean for the kind of a beginning? Maybe some of you know this German Jewish poet, I don't know how you call him, Heinrich Heine, Henri N in French. I don't know what you do with him. Henry Hen, I have no idea. But he writes very beautifully in a poem about the magic that is to very beginning. And I always wondered about this poem. It's quoted very frequently, and my beginnings are not at all magical, at all. I am clumsy, and usually the first time that I do anything, it's not magical. It is slow, and I often make mistakes. And after I've done it for the first time, things are getting better. So when we're diving into the songs and psalms for Shabbat, I want to kind of put this question in front of you because I'm going to talk much more. So information later, but question now. What is in your hearts? What kind of a beginning is there? Be it wild and magical or clumsy and slow, and maybe both at the same time, magical and clumsy. What is slowly, slowly coming up for you as we are beginning in darkness, moving with increasing light? Page 136, Psalm 29.
Mizmor leDavid, Habul Adonai b'nei Elim, Habul Adonai, Kavod va'oz, Habul Adonai, Kevod Shemo Yishach, Habul Adonai, Lavot Kodesh, Kol Adonai Amayim, El HaKavod Irim, Adonai, Amayim Rabim, Kol Adonai, Bakoach, Kol Adonai Behadar, Kol Adonai Shover Harazim, Vayishaber Adonai et Arze Avanon, Vayakidem Kmo Egel Levanon, Besirion, Kemo ben Reimim, Kol Adonai Hotzed Lavodesh, Kol Adonai Yachil Midbar, Yachil Adonai Midbar Kadesh, Kol Adonai Cholel Ayalot, Vayechesov, Ye'arot, Udechalot, Kulom Merkavod, Adonai Lama Bo Yashav Vayeshev Adonai Melech Leolam, Adonai Oz Le'amo Yiten, Adonai Yevarech et Amo V'Shalom. Yai, 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 yai,
One 136, 8, 138.
Alalalai lecha dodi, alalalai likrat kala, alalalai b'nei Shabbat, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Yishmi'anu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad, U'shemo מול תפארת ולתחילה. די די די, לה 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 לך דודי, לה 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 לקראת כלה, לה 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 בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תהילה. היי די די, לה 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 לך דודי, לה 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 לקראת כלה, לה 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 בני שבת, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידלה 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 בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידלה 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 בני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי התעוררי כי באורך קומי אורי, אורי אורי שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידלה 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 בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידלה 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 בני שבת נקבלה.
לאדוני טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון. טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר It is the Shabbat where we read about attempts. It's not even clear if they're failed attempts or if they're attempts that are necessary in order to arrive at the ultimate goal. But we hear about Moses going to Pharaoh over and over and over again with the same message over and over again. And you all know it, let my people go. And each time he fails. He goes back with a no. And each time the people look at him and they know that he failed. And each time God is increasing the punishments. And each time the people suffer more. And Moses doesn't know that there will be 10. And the people don't know that there will be 10. There might as well have been 20 or 150, as much as they know. They must have been surprised when it suddenly worked. So I thought a little bit. We are so used to the story. We know the movies, we know the ending, we hear the story since we're, 2, 3 years old. We know what's going on. They didn't know. They had no idea if the next time would be the last time, or just, 1 out of 1,000. And this is something that we know from our own life. And the concept that we have behind this is patience. It's called patience in English. It's called savlanut in Hebrew. And the really interesting thing about this word savlanut is that it is connected to another word that is called sevel. And sevel means suffering. So patience is suffering. We suffer if we have to wait. We suffer if we have to do the same thing over and over and over again. We suffer if we see that we fail, no matter if we're just praying or actually doing things. We're bumping against a wall. We do it over and over again. It's not pleasant. And a lot of people will tell you, you know what, if it doesn't work, maybe it's not supposed to happen. Move on. And there's one thing I do want to say. I'm now going to say a lot of positive things about patience. There are instances where it is not good to be patient. There are instances when you should leave or you should drop the project. But I leave it up to your own discernment to figure out when these instances in your own life occur. But there are a lot of other instances where it is worthwhile to do it again and again and again and again until it works. Our Parsha is such a story. What if Moses had given up? What if he would have been too embarrassed after the 5th attempt and he would have just said, you know what, whatever, just stay in Egypt. I'm not going anymore. Could have happened, but didn't happen. So it is really hard to drag ourselves through all these attempts, especially if they're not working out and we don't know which one is going to be the last. I want to tell you a little bit about a rabbi. It's Rabbi Akiva. There's a lot of stories about Rabbi Akiva, but one of the most famous stories about him is that he was 40 years old when he studied Torah for the first time. So what that means is that when he was a shepherd, he was out there with the sheep, and he suddenly decided that he needs to learn Torah. And what happened there was that he was sitting next to a well. He was one of those many, many famous Jewish shepherds sitting next to wells. And he saw water drop on a stone. And that water had been dripping for a long time. And the stone had taken on the shape of the water drops, dripping and dripping and dripping. And he looked at that and he said to himself, if this can happen to a stone, I can be shaped by Torah too. I just have to go somewhere where the water is going to drip and drip and drip and drip and never cease dripping. So he went to yeshiva, and there are stories about him that he sat down with the little 3-year-old boys who were laughing about him, and he learned the alphabet with them. And he continued sitting there, just letting the water drip and drip and drip and drip every day of his life, he became one of the most famous rabbis of his generation, in old age, but he did it. And he sat there, and he let the water, the Torah, shape him. And that is also something that the rabbis call savlanut, just sitting and letting it happen, even more passively than Moses, going over and over and over again. There are a lot of Jewish teachings about the nature of what we call patience, savlanut. And one of the most famous books in Musar, which is a Jewish school of practical ethics, is saying that in the book Cheshbon HaNefesh, which is something like the accounting of the soul, whatever may obstruct me from reaching my goals, it is possible to bear the burden of the situation. So when you hear this, you get a sense that we're talking about hard situations that you kind of have to sit in them and carry them. They weigh on you. But then this book speaks about something else. It says that whenever you're sitting there and you feel that something is weighing on you, the problem is that your perspective is on you. You are waiting that something is happening. You are sitting there being impatient. But maybe the situation is not only about you. Maybe a lot of other people need to come around first. Maybe other things need to happen for other people first. So in order to sit there and wait and let the water shape you, you just have to figure out what is more important right now than your immediate goal. And if you have figured that out, maybe you have the strength and the endurance to stretch a little in time and wait for the other people to take their steps first. And then eventually, it will be your turn. There's one more story I want to share about patience. There's a story in the Talmud about Rav Preda, who had a student who was so slow that he could not grasp a lesson unless his teacher taught it to him 400 times. Imagine how this teacher feels. Steph, imagine how that teacher feels. One day, while Rav Preda was teaching his student, someone came and told the rabbi that he needed his services when he had finished teaching. That day, after he had completed the 400th repetition, Rav Preda asked the student if he had grasped the lesson, to which the student replied that he had not. "Why is it different today than other days?" the teacher asked. And his student answered that from the moment the other person had come to speak to Rav Preda, the student had been distracted, thinking to himself, "Soon the master will have to get up. Soon the master will have to get up." Rav Preda then replied, "If that is so, let me teach you the lesson again." He then repeated the teaching an additional 400 times. When he had finished, a heavenly voice called out to Rav Preda, "Which reward do you want? Either 400 years will be added to your life, or you and your generation will be received into the world to come." He answered, "I request that my generation and I merit the world to come." To this, the heavenly voice replied, "Give him both." And such are the fruits of patience. I thought about these stories a lot, about people who put themselves in situations and then kind of just sit there and endure, do the same thing over and over again, listen to the same things over and over again, go to Pharaoh over and over and over again. And we do never know if it will ever end, but we know one thing, that it shapes us to do it. We will be the people who went up to Pharaoh. We will be the people who let Torah shape our lives. We will be the people who repeated the same righteous lessons over and over to ourselves. And they will shape us. And the process is shaping us. So by not giving up, by sitting there and learning to hold time, by patience with ourselves and with others, we become who we want to be and who we are supposed to become. Shabbat Shalom. 146. If it is your custom, please rise for the Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai Amorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Va'ed. Please be seated. 148. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim. Together, this is an hour of change, page 149. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim. 150.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Al ken Adonai Eloheinu B'shachpeinu u'bekumenu Nasiach b'chukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha U'b'mitzvotecha Le'olam va'ed Ki hem chayenu Be'orech yameinu U'vahem negeh yomam balayla Ve'avatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael.
152. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Uh-oh. Go ahead. Should I go up there?
Sure.
I didn't think I would. I didn't. You can do it. I didn't.
He can do it. Page 154.
Do I have to be next?
You can see into this.
Okay. Great.
This is the burden I was talking about.
Yeah.
It is literally called, like saying the blessings for the Shema, it's called lekabel ol mitzvot chashamayim, to receive the burden of the mitzvot. Here we have it. So,
This would happen. Oh, do I start by myself? Oh, great.
את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וכשאתם להות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בעין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר אנוכי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת. יישר כוח. We are on page 158, which is the Micha Mocha, which is all about walking towards something. 158. But it is also a prayer as we're walking towards something that raises the question, what's your place toward which you are walking?
מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה. זה אלינו ואמרו, זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
One 60. Yeah, 160.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים העמידנו שומרנו
Just like that, we have a synagogue choir. Thank you. Thank you. Page 162. When the rabbis were thinking about how to find your place, for them the most important question was, how do you find the right place to pray? And they came up with a lot of rules. It must be a place very far away from a bathroom. We already kind of screwed that up here. It must be a place with a window to the world. It is forbidden to pray in a place without any windows. It must be a place in which you do not sleep. You know, sometimes it's okay if you sleep. It must be a place where you don't engage in lustily eating, only necessary eating, so to speak. And then still, we hear about rabbis who used to begin praying in one place, and then the prayer would kind of like drive them in all kinds of directions. By the end of their prayer, they would find themselves on the other side of the room. So they instituted something. They said, when you pray, make sure you ate and you drank, so you don't have to do it anymore. Make sure you went to the bathroom. And then you go 3 steps forward, and you step into the place of prayer, and then you go 3 steps backward to the place where you started, and this is where you root yourself, so that when you pray, you know where you're going, and you root yourself into the space where you're at. Page 164. Please take the 3 steps with me. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. 166 and onward. 180. 180. 180.
Oh, say shalom bimroma. Uya say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imru, imru, amen. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Oh, say shalom bimroma. Uya say shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imru, imru, amen.
It's the time for the Carly prayer. It's the time for the Mishaberach, a prayer for healing. And our list this week is relatively long. The first person I want to mention in this community is Jeff Lurer. He is one of the people who is only here in the summer. Jeff and Marlene are long-time summer Bozemanites, winter Floridians, something like that. And he is in and out of the hospital and not doing well. They consider this congregation their home. So I really want to say, let's say Mishaberach for Jeff. There's also Chad Thomas, who is the son-in-law of Alex and Monique Summers. There's Wendy Marcus. There's still Jane and her family trying to establish a life without Fred. There's the Werner family. There's Ethel Marshall, mother of Doug Marshall. Bob Wild, who is in Texas. Ezra Sixdog, and Fern Levin, the mother of Randy Levin. We talked about the Mishaberach this week with the religious school, and I asked the people, the little people, if they know someone whose body or heart is hurting. And some of them had a thing for a long time, and they said, I don't know anyone. They couldn't think of anyone whose heart or body is hurting. And I said to them, you guys, you're awesome. Enjoy this time, because later on you will always know someone in your life whose heart or body is hurting. And sometimes it's even going to be you. So I want to invite yourself, think about all the people whose hearts and bodies are hurting. And if you know that your own heart or body is hurting, then think about yourself in a very kind and tender way. Page 371. I need someone else's. I don't see these page numbers. It's page 371. The Mishaberach lecholim, Mishaberach for the sick.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing and
similar note, our Kaddish list is growing, page 598. We are remembering together Anne-Marie Ryder, wife of former President Jeff Ryder, Fred Leopold, husband of Jane Leopold and father of Lorna Marnie and Seth Leopold, Leora Werner, sister-in-law of Jake and Kama and aunt of Quinn and Lauren Werner, John Alexander Roberts, father of Jackie Robin, Daniela Stoffel, Sid Broston, Laurel Rachel Ornitz, Adrian Haberlein, Carl Mueller, Larry Liederman, Dave, and Michael. Please rise if this is your custom, and if you want to add any more names to the Kaddish, please do so. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחיי חון וביום חון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה ברכו. לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. Please be seated. Page 627, Shalom Aleichem. 627.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Marchuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzechem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
And I want to use the moment when angels are in the air to just stay in that space for a little bit. Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'choneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha, ve'yasem lecha shalom. May God bless you and protect you. May God send all your angels to you, the ones who rush you forward and the ones who whisper, stay put.
I have a lot of announcements. So stay put. Tomorrow's Torah study, 9:30 here and on Zoom. So we're back to that. There will be bagels, there will be coffee, and you can discuss the way the art is hung on the wall. On Monday is Millennials, Alexander Technique, here in the space. And then on Monday at 12 p.m. for the first time, we're starting the Beth Shalom Talmud class, both in the space and online. You can come as you are. There might be coffee if you make some. There are no bagels, but I'm going to be there, so hopefully it's going to be fun. This class, by the way, is not because I need to teach Talmud to be happy. It is because some of our members said they want to learn Talmud. And we put it at 12 p.m., so the hope is that people who are working and they're sitting in their boring offices and have absolutely nothing to do, they will dedicate their lunch break to study some Talmud with me. Who knows? Maybe some will come around. On Tuesday at 12 p.m., we have our Hebrew class, both here and online. This is like the ultimate, the peak Hebrew class. Afterwards, we're starting back with the alphabet. So if you're very advanced and you want to dive into Hebrew grammar with me, that is Tuesday. And and then at 1 p.m. on Tuesday, there's Mahjong back in the space just to hang out for 4 hours and play Mahjong and eat cake, because there's always cake. I don't know why, but it's great. And then Wednesday is religious school. Thursday, for the first time, the other Alexander Technique group for people over 40 is meeting, but they're only meeting online because, and here we're shifting gears slightly, on Thursdays our carpet is going to get cleaned. And all this, by the way, is due to this woman here, Carly Ramsey. So just look around. She didn't pay for it personally, but she organized the painter. She will organize new ceiling fans. She's organized, randomly, new ceiling fans for the social hall, which the people at Torah Study will love in the summer. She's organized the carpet cleaning, and she's going to get an electrician in here to make some really, really necessary repairs. And Carly, there will be more occasions and different settings to thank you, but even my mother said, "Does Carly have a job?" And I said, "Yes, a big one." A big one. And yet, you're always here. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for that. And next Friday, we're back online with the Learner's Minion. And I think I almost said everything except for 2 things. You have 1 more week to fill in the survey and the newsletter about all the things you have to say about this building. If you like it, if you don't like it, what you love the most about it, what you would change if you could, all those things. And we're really, really listening. I'm going to print this out in the form of Excel charts and diagrams, and, let me know what you're thinking. It's really important for us to know. And the other thing is that we are now officially hiring the next person to help us run this synagogue. So if you know someone, and it could be someone who doesn't have anything else to do, or someone who is, someone like an artist who sometimes has something to do, but likes a steady income on the side, or someone who's retired and really bored because it's not a full-time position. It is up to 20 hours a week for someone who is hands-on and practical and knows how to do stuff and has fun working with me. That's kind of necessary. Right. So this is what we call a part-time operational assistant or something like that. Yes, part-time operational assistant. So if you know someone who would like to be a part-time operational assistant, send them our way. And we're hiring the moment we will find that unicorn. We don't care if they show up tomorrow or in 3 months from now. We really need this person. Yes. Yes, I will speak about this more. No. Oh, yes. No. Now I understand what you mean. Yes. And tomorrow is the women's group. I forgot that. Sorry. Okay. Whatever. Tomorrow is the women's group, and we're going to eat cake and talk about the building of our life, and we'll have a synagogue tour with Carly. And then we're going to discuss 2 chapters of heavy Jewish feminism, which is the book written by Judith Plaskow, Standing Again at Sinai. And then we're going to organize in the activist way, because I am planning for something next January, which is a year from now. But we're planning, and we're doing big things with the women's group. So, I think that was it. Any other announcements? No? Okay, good. So, as you see, there's no more table there, so I'm not starting my regular sprint. We're trying to optimize our ways here. And here we go. This time, the white one is juice, and the red one is wine. So I'm going to, what am I actually going to do? I don't know. We're doing this for the first time. Do you want to grab some? Yes. Okay, perfect. I am going to walk through. Dad. Thank you. Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher קידשנו במצוותיו ורצבנו בשבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו זיכרון למעשה בראשית כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים כי באנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת עם כל העמים ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו ברוך אתה אדוני. Thank you. מקדש השבת לחיים. שבת שלום. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם המוציא לחם מן הארץ תיאבון. בים בם בים 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 בם בים 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 בם יא נה 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 בים בם בים 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 בם בים 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 בם. שבת שלום. שבת שלום. שבת שלום. שבת 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 שלום.
Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, hey, Shabbat, Shalom, hey, Shabbat, 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 Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, hey, Shabbat, Shalom, hey, Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Shalom aleinu ve'akol ha'olam. Salam, shalom. Salam Aleinu ve'akol ha'olam. Salam Shalom. Od yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od yavo Shalom Aleinu.